We all know about predictive programming. It's like The Simpsons predicts everything. But it's not a prediction. It's just an agenda. They are showing us things that are going to happen in the future because it's an agenda that's playing out.
Barack Obama gave major feedback on the Leave the World Behind script. I watched this movie last night. I finished it at 12:30. And very weird movie. A dark movie, okay, to enhance the script's realism. And by the way, very weird that the fact that they say this, because you'll hear some of the stuff that's said in this movie. Ismail recounted Obama's response saying, I am writing what I think is fiction for the most part. I'm trying to keep it as true to life as possible.
So it's basically a film about a cyber attack by hackers on America. They also sent drones go by, and they're dropping thousands. I'm talking about hundreds of thousands of flyers with a snake photo that says "Death to America." Okay, on one side of the coast. On the other side of the coast, they had the same drones, but they were dropping stuff in Chinese and just from different countries, so you don't know where it's coming from, right? It was an all-out attack using something that they called a three-stage maneuver to topple the government from within that ended with bombs dropping on cities, on the White House, and they had radiation. So the three-stage maneuver is isolation. They disable all communications and transportation, making people deaf, dumb, and paralyzed. Number two was synchronized chaos. Terror with covert attacks and disinformation with no clear enemy. Nobody knows who the hell it's coming from. And then the third stage is the coup d'etat, civil war, and collapse.
But the key is it says third stage happens on its own. You don't need to do anything.
You don't do it.
It says first phase is isolation, then it's synchronized chaos, which means it's intentional. But the third stage, you don't do anything. It's civil war and collapse. This program was known as the most cost-effective way to destabilize a country.
Yeah, dude.
That's what they said in the movie, by the way.
Yeah.
That's the actor.
Marshall Ali?
He's the one that says it.
Oh, yeah. He says a lot of crazy stuff.
Because tell him why he knew this stuff, because his friend, he kept saying.
He had so in the car, dude, I got goosebumps right now. There's a scene where he's looking at Ethan Hawke and he's like, listen, I have a very powerful friend. We always joke around. He always says that he goes to meet with these elites and they tell him this type of stuff and it's a cabal and it's evil. And dude, he gets quiet and he goes, this last time he didn't respond. He's his money manager. He goes, he didn't respond and they were leaving because they know they have a heads up that this stuff is coming down the pipe. So I'm watching this, Pat, and then I'm like, wait, Barack, why would an ex-president and his wife produce something like this as if they know something is happening, right? And he played, what you said, he played a key role in the film. He was hands-on the entire film. Sam Ismail, the guy, the director, said that he was there giving him real-world feedback. So when this guy was doing stuff, Barack was like, no, that's not how this would play out. Trust me, this is how it would play out. Also, just a little detour. They had some backlash for what he did. They said in the movie about white people. There's a scene where Marshall Ali's laying in bed with his daughter because they're staying in the basement of this house. And he said, and this is what the daughter says, and I quote, I'm asking you to remember that if the world falls apart, trust should not be doled out easily to anyone, especially white people. So that's in there. By the way, there's another quote in the movie. Ready for this? A conspiracy theory.
By the way, stay on that. Stay on that because it says, if something happens to the world, we shouldn't trust white people.
Yeah.
That's something I know you and Mom would agree with me. Quote.
End quote.
The girl says that to the dad while they're in bed together. This girl's probably 22 years old.
Yeah.
Why would you put that in a...
Random. So this is a quote from the movie. A conspiracy theory about a shadow group of people running the world is far too lazy of an explanation, especially when the truth is far scarier. No one is in control. No one is pulling the strings. An event like this happens the best. Even the most powerful people can hope for a heads up. Now, Pat, this movie, besides having the cultist stuff, the son was wearing an Obey shirt. The daughter had a NASA shirt. In the title, you could see that there's a BAAL in it. There's a scene in the movie. I'm not being that guy. It is what it is. There's a 666 in a triangle. This is called predictive programming. And let me explain something to you. Tucker Carlson on his show, Pat, had he said about the EMP attack that's going to come if we get into a war with Iran. And Rob, can you get this video ready, bro? Klaus Schwab, World Economic Forum, that demon, all right? He's predicting a cyber attack. He said, and I quote, the COVID-19 crisis, with respect, would be seen as a small disturbance in comparison. This is him warning us. Listen to this.
Pay insufficient attention to the frightening scenario of a comprehensive cyber attack, which would bring to a complete halt to the power supply transportation, hospital services, our society as a whole. The COVID-19 crisis would be seen in this respect as a small disturbance in comparison to a major cyber attack.
Okay, the predictive programming, they're letting you know it's coming. Like the movie Contagion with COVID-19, the girl went to Hong Kong. It's like, how do they know? And people always ask, why do the elites always let us know what's coming down the pike, right? They tell you through movies, through music, what they're going to do. It's called, and you guys can look this up, the revelation of the method. They do this to avoid bad karma. I mean, who would have thought, evil would have, morals? They put their true intentions out there so nobody could accuse them of not warning us of things to come, all right? It's like when you hear Bill Gates talking about depopulating the earth, he does it. And they believe that when they tell us this, they will not face consequences. In 1981, I dug a little deep, Pat. In 1981, the CIA director, William Casey, said to Ronald Reagan in the West Wing, and there's a bunch of people that said he said this, he said, and I quote, "We will know our disinformation is complete when everything the American public believes is false." This was an American spy, CIA guy. And it's not like, Pat, when I talk about this type of stuff, guys, that it's not true. This movie came out last week. Guess what happened yesterday? A massive cyber attack in the United States by China for our infrastructure. They hit Hawaii's water utility systems. They hit an oil and gas pipeline, and they tried to take down the electrical grid in Texas. And yesterday, Rumble was attacked. Rumble got cyber attacked yesterday. And just a side note, Pat, since I'm in this world of people and evil and all this type of stuff, did you see what happened at the Iowa Capitol building yesterday? These are the type of people that take down Thomas Jefferson statue, but they had a satanic demon displayed up there. Rob, can you show that? They have a satanic demon in. Pat, I'm talking about candles. Yes. Keep going down, Rob. This is actually it. Scroll to the bottom. They're not even hiding anymore, guys. It's not as if we come up with this type of stuff and they're lying. Yeah, this is on display at the Iowa Capitol State Building. It's the Satanic Church, and they're saying, listen, we have rights too. We could do it.
Yeah, that's the goat. There's owls and goats.
And look at the pentagram on his chest. So when we talk about this type of stuff, I always question myself. I'm like, why would they show it to us? Why did they do it? This is out in the open. They're not hiding. They're giving us a heads up before it comes out, and it happened yesterday. So that I wouldn't be surprised if that's the next
I got to tell you this. For me, the movie, as dumb as it was, the line, conspiracy theory of some shadow organization running the world is not true. A line said in the movie that a former president was involved in the script. No one controls the strings. They're saying this in the movie. Are you supposed to believe that? Do you actually believe no one controls the strings? A few other things. Microwave weapons that cause radiation. This happened in Cuba. Kevin Bacon says it. There's a scene in the movie where he says, cash may not mean much when the government falls. But by the way, even though that's a line in a movie, that is true, though. Cash may not mean much when the government falls.
Of course.
You have to be aware that there is some credibility to that statement. And another line when the kid says it, when the father says it, I can barely do anything without my cell phone and GPS. I am a useless man without my cell phone, says in the movie. And there's a bunch of other things. We made a lot of enemies around the world. Maybe what this means is they all teamed up against us. Kevin Bacon is saying it to both of the guys that they're talking to.
So that's an anti-America globalism message.
Tom, this was a pure anti-America. We caused this. This is the reason why this is taking place. It is a movie to trash America. It is a movie to manipulate people watching. It is a movie to get people thinking and believing. But if there's one thing that I did believe when it was done, there's different torture methods. One of the torture methods when they put you in jail is this screeching sound that they make that stays on for a couple days that you can't go to sleep.
Oh my God!
You know that sound. Do you know what I'm talking about?
It hurt your ears. Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Yes.
And no matter what you do, it's so loud, so you can't.
It's
sleep.
like worse than a baby crying in your ear.
Oh, it's Adam, 10 times worse.
The kid. Go ahead, Pat. Go ahead.
In the movie, they do this to the entire state, to the entire town, and everybody hears it. and everybody collapses. There's even a scene where Julia Roberts chasing after her daughter to find her. The pain is so bad she falls to her knees. So the pain was so excruciating that she couldn't even chase after her daughter to find her.
It cripples you.
It cripples you.
And one of the bad reactions of that radiation, that signal, the son's teeth just start falling out. The political coup d'etat, which is afoot. They say, which is why the people in positions of power are letting a civil war take root by disrupting technology and feeding disinformation. And you said that third stage, it happens on its own. So everything, all this stuff, it's just weird. Klaus Schwab, it's throughout the history, they warn us, God, Rock, I know they warn us what's coming, Pat, because apparently in their religion, Rob, we talked about this before, they have to give you a heads up as it's coming down the pike, which is weird. What were you going to say, Rob?
No, there was a TV show called The X-Files. Do you guys remember that show from the 90s?
Yes.
David Duchovny.
Did you ever hear of the spin-off show, The Lone Gunman?
No.
Okay, there was a TV show that Fox produced in 2001. It was going to be a spin-off of some of the people that fed Mulder and Scully information about the X-Files.
Yep.
The pilot episode aired March 4th of 2001. So this is
22 years ago.
7 months before 9/11.
Wow.
The entire episode predicted that the government would use a controlled drone airplane to fly into the World Trade Center then launch. I swear to God, to launch a war in the Middle East. So I have it up here, the X-Files. But
I told you,
March 4th of 2001 that comes out, and then 6 months later, 9/11. Literally, planes fly into the World Trade Centers, and then we go to war with
so
the Middle East.
am I crazy to say what I say when I'm telling you it's called predictive programming? They let you know what's coming, and then when it happens, we have these moments where we go, wait, what? Weird.
But here's a question, though. Here's a question.
Yeah.
Okay, Tom. You remember the only guy we ever brought on the podcast twice in the same month was a guy named Peter Pry.
Peter Pry,
and he died afterwards.
Yeah.
Weird.
He literally died afterwards.
He was the
I'm not kidding
electromagnetic
with you.
pulse guy. Yeah.
He was the guy that knew the most about EMPs.
Yeah.
We bring him on, he talks about the fact that everybody should own a nuclear
Underground
bunker.
Yeah. He was sort of a
talking-
doomsday prepper type.
I believe it, dude.
But I tell you what, the level of qualification of what this guy had in his background, when he spoke, you listen, he was that interesting.
You were
Tom,
fascinated, Pat.
I think you wanted to say something, Tom. Go for it.
No, what I was looking at here is, remember, there's none of this is surprising to me because this is all the PSYOP stuff, and it's real. PSYOPs is real. You also can just go look at. We talk about it in our political discourse. They say is accuse the other side of doing exactly what you are doing now. Right? It's like, oh, it's such as the liberals were accusing Republicans of using redlining and redistricting to manipulate elections. You're manipulating elections through redlining, redistricting, and denying people the right to vote by creating obstacles in the form of identification and other things that are designed to do this. So all those come out. And then now we find out that, ballot harvesting, we've got videos of ballots being brought in, in suitcases and buckets. It's real. Did it alter the whole election? Who knows? Was there fraud involved? Of course. So it's accuse the other side, which you're exactly doing now. The point is this all comes out to prime the populace. That is the whole purpose of it. When you look at Operation Mockingbird and all these things in PSYOPs, what you have to do is you have to make it not surprising. It says, and also put yourself in a position where you're offensive, not defensive. So that's how you prime the pump by letting people know, saying things out there so they're not as surprised, number one. And then number two, the PSYOP, what we're just talking about elections, accuse the other side what you're going to do. And when you do all this, the populace is somewhat numbed and somewhat, incapacitated.